This story is titled, Caught My Fiancée Cheating with a Stripper and Another Guy at Her Bachelorette Party. So I ghosted her and called off the engagement, and now her friends are begging me to take her back. I, 31 male, never thought I'd be writing a post like this. Me and Allison, my fiancée, 28 female, were supposed to get married in 3 weeks. We'd been together for 4 years, engaged for almost 1. I'm a financial advisor at a mid-sized firm, make decent money, hit the gym 5 times a week, and thought I had my shit together. Allison was this gorgeous blonde I met at a friend's BBQ, former cheerleader type, works in pharmaceutical sales, the kind of girl that makes other guys jealous. So I'm sitting there last night, can't sleep for some reason. Maybe it was intuition, I don't know. I notice Allison's phone light up with messages from her girls around 2 a.m. Something about her bachelorette party that happened last weekend in Vegas. She got back Sunday night, and something felt off since then. Less affectionate, kind of distant, but I figured she was just tired from the trip and stressed about wedding details. I know this sounds sketchy, but I stayed up checking her messages and going through her Facebook. I've never done anything like this before. Never felt the need to. We always had this policy of openness with our phones. Not that we regularly went through each other's stuff, but there was nothing to hide, you know. But what I found out literally destroyed me. She didn't just get a lap dance or whatever at her bachelorette, which would have been fine. I mean, it's a bachelorette party after all. No, she actually gave a fucking stripper a BJ in the VIP room of some club and then went home with some random guy that night. I'm not making this shit up. She even has this dude, some guy named Tyler, 33, added on Facebook with messages like, I had a good time and nice to meet you from the exact date of her party. Had an amazing night with you, Tyler. Let me know next time you're in town. That's what she wrote to him. To him. 3 weeks before our fucking wedding. I found all this in the chat with her friends where they were talking about it. The group chat is called Bride Tribe, with all these stupid emojis. Her maid of honor, Rachel, 28 female, was saying stuff like, OMG Ali, I can't believe you did that, with laughing emojis. Her sister Jen, 25 female, chiming in with, what happens in Vegas? Stays in Vegas, girl. And more of those crying, laughing faces. They were all treating it like some hilarious adventure, not like she just took our relationship and set it on fire. Some of the details they shared made me physically sick. How the stripper was so huge, and how Tyler was surprisingly good in bed for a guy you just met. How they had to help her sneak back into their hotel room at 7 a.m. before checkout. How she made them all promise not to tell me because it was just a Vegas thing, and what Mark doesn't know won't hurt him. I sat there in the dark of our living room for hours, reading and rereading these messages. Seems like it was a one-time thing, but what the actual fuck? We're supposed to be getting married in 3 weeks. I haven't slept all night, and she's gonna wake up for work in like an hour. It's almost 6 a.m. here, and I'm sitting in our living room, feeling completely destroyed. This was the woman I was planning to buy a house with, have kids with, grow old with, and now I feel like I want to throw all that out the window. The weird thing is, I'm more angry than sad. Haven't cried once since finding out. I just don't know what to do. Should I confront her? Should I just leave? Should I hear her side? Honestly, I just want to punch something right now, but I don't want to do anything stupid. I've never hit a woman and never will, but I'm so fucking angry I can't even think straight. Part of me wants to wake her up right now and scream at her. Part of me wants to just disappear and never talk to her again. I'm typing this on my iPad, and I'm not in a good place mentally, RN. Need some advice from you guys. What would you do in my situation? After reading a bunch of advice from you guys, seriously, thanks for all the comments, I made my decision. Most of you said to ghost her completely, and a few suggested confronting her first. I decided on something in between. When Allison woke up, she noticed I was still awake and asked what's up. I just played it cool, told her I had nightmares and couldn't sleep. I felt like I was watching myself in third person, like I was on autopilot or something. My voice was calm, but inside I was screaming. She even asked if I was stressed about the wedding, and I said something like, how can I be stressed about the best thing in my life? Then I kissed her goodbye like nothing was wrong. Ice cold. She lingered a bit, like she wanted to say something else, but then just smiled and went to get ready for work. I watched her go through her normal morning routine, shower, blow dry her hair, put on makeup at the little vanity table in our bedroom, all while texting and laughing occasionally at her phone. Was she texting him? Or just her friends? It took everything in me not to grab the phone from her hands and demand answers. When she came to kiss me goodbye before leaving, she smelled like that expensive perfume I got her for Valentine's Day. I hugged her a little longer than usual, knowing it would be the last time. I love you, she said. I know, I replied. Not, I love you too, like usual. Just, I know. She gave me a weird look but was running late, so she just hurried out the door. As soon as she left for work, I started packing my most important stuff. Grabbed my weights, protein, supplements, designer clothes, shoes, watch collection, and other important things. I left all the furniture, TV, kitchen stuff, didn't care about any of that. Altogether, it was like 3 to 4 suitcases plus my gym gear. I called and canceled the wedding venue. They're keeping 15% for canceling, but whatever. That's like $4,000 down the drain. But I really don't care at this point. Money can be replaced. My self-respect can't. I made sure to save screenshots of everything as evidence, then transferred them to my cloud storage, just in case she somehow got hold of my devices. Around 1 p.m., I called a taxi and headed to a hotel about 100 kilometers from our city. Didn't leave any note or picture at home, just vanished. By 3:30 p.m., my phone starts blowing up. First Allison, then her sister Jen, 25F, her friends, her parents, my parents, and our mutual friends. I put my phone on silent and just stared at the notifications piling up. The only people I called back were my mom and dad. I told them a nicer version of what happened, just that she wasn't loyal to me and that the wedding's off. I asked them not to tell anyone else what I told them. Are you sure about this, Mark? My mom asked, concern evident in her voice. Maybe there's some explanation? No, Mom. There's no explanation that could fix this. Trust me. Around 5 p.m., my dad calls me back saying Allison is completely hysterical, totally broke down, and doesn't understand what's going on. She showed up at my parents' house looking for me, mascara streaked down her face, barely coherent. I just told him not to get involved and that I need some alone time. Then I turned off my phone and just chilled. Went to the hotel gym for 2 hours, hit the pool, took a nap, just trying to take it easy. The funny thing is, her sister Jen knew about what happened at the party. I have the text to prove it. She even laughed about it and told Allison not to feel guilty because it's her bachelorette and that women should go all in on this night. I'm seriously tempted to reply to Jen with just a screenshot of that conversation. Dirty enablers. Before going to sleep, I turned my phone back on just to check if there was anything important I missed. 47 missed calls, 32 texts, 5 voicemails. I didn't read or listen to any of them. Just checked that none were from work or anything actually important. Then I turned it off again and tried to sleep. But sleep wouldn't come. I kept seeing images in my head. Allison with that stripper. Allison with Tyler. Allison laughing with her friends about how stupid I was. Were there others I didn't know about? Had our whole relationship been a lie? I woke up the next morning after finally getting maybe 2 hours of restless sleep. Checked my phone. 23 more missed calls overnight. My phone's been going nuts with calls and messages. I finally decided to answer when Allison called for like the 20th time that morning. Man, her voice was completely torn up. You could tell she'd been crying all day and night. Mark? Oh my God, Mark, where are you? Are you okay? What's happening? I came home and all your stuff was gone and you're not answering and I thought you were dead or something. The words tumbled out of her in a rush. I'm fine, I said flatly. Fine? Fine? You disappeared. You just vanished without a word. How is that fine? Where are you? I'll come get you right now. No, you won't. What? Mark, what's going on? Why did you leave? Is this about the wedding? Are you getting cold feet? Because we can postpone if you're not ready. Just talk to me, please. I almost laughed at the irony. She thought I was the one getting cold feet. It's not about cold feet, Allison. She kept begging me to come back, saying there was an explanation for everything and that I misunderstood the whole situation. I could hear Jen and probably her bestie Rachel, 28F, in the background coaching her. Caught fragments like, tell him it wasn't serious and say you were drunk. I asked her to explain right then and there. She said I'd only seen a small part of the conversation and had misunderstood everything. She kept saying she loves me and that I made an irrational decision without having a real reason. During this whole thing, I just gave short, empty answers like, yeah, and okay, and explain it. Stayed in control. Didn't raise my voice once. Mark, please, you know I love you. I'd never do anything to hurt you intentionally. I don't know what you think you found or what you think happened, but I swear there's an explanation. I'm listening, I said coolly. I can't explain over the phone. You need to come home. We need to talk about this face to face. After she gave me the misunderstanding bullshit, I told her to call me back in 10 minutes and check her messenger. Then I sent her screenshots of the entire conversation log. Not all of it, but most of the important parts, including where they talk about her deep-throating some stripper named Magic Mike and going home with Tyler after Rachel introduced them. I included the timestamps. The laughing emojis. The part where Jen said, "What happens in Vegas stays in Vegas," and where Rachel said, "Girl, you are bad." I included the part where Allison herself wrote, "Mark would literally die if he knew, and promised me none of you will ever tell him about this." I included the messages between her and Tyler. Then I just waited, heart pounding in my chest. It took exactly 2 minutes and 17 seconds for my phone to ring again. She called back crying hysterically, barely able to form words. Mark, I'm so sorry. Oh my God, please. I was drunk. It didn't mean anything. Please come home. We can work through this. I'll do anything." Her voice was so broken, so desperate. For a split second, I felt a twinge of sympathy. But then I remembered the messages. Mark would literally die if he knew. "Why, Allison?" I asked, my voice steady. "Why would you do this 3 weeks before our wedding?" She was sobbing so hard I could barely understand her. Her excuse? She was forced by her friends and sister to have fun one last time and let all the energy out before stepping into a lifelong marriage. She wasn't thinking clearly. It didn't mean anything, just a stupid mistake. I barely said anything, which just made her cry more. She started saying crazy stuff like I could sleep with other women to get back at her, or that she'd tell everyone what she did if I'd take her back, and that she'd do anything to make me come back. Said it was the biggest mistake of her life, and that she hates Jen and Rachel for it. They pressured me. It was the atmosphere, and everyone was saying it was my last chance to be wild before becoming a wife. I never wanted to hurt you, Mark. You have to believe me. I told her that sleeping with other women wasn't something I needed, because from the moment I met her, she was the only woman I wanted. I didn't need to meet or sleep with anyone else to know the best thing in my life was waiting at home. Then why would you do it? I asked quietly. If you felt the same way, why would you do this to us? She had no answer to that. Just more sobbing, more excuses, more blame on her friends in Vegas itself, like the city was somehow responsible for her choices. I let her talk herself out. Then I told her if she comes clean to her parents and family, I'd think about it. Then I hung up. I sat on the edge of the hotel bed, phone in hand, feeling strangely calm. The decision had been made. The truth was out. No more secrets. No more lies. I felt a weight lift off my shoulders, replaced by a deep, hollow sadness for what could have been. For about 30 minutes, my phone was silent. I used the time to gather my thoughts, to breathe deeply, to remind myself that I deserved better than this. I deserved loyalty, respect, love that didn't betray. Then her father, Bob, 59 male, called me. Bob had always been good to me, treated me like the son he never had, took me fishing, taught me about cars. He was looking forward to our wedding almost as much as we were. I almost didn't answer, but something told me I owed him that much. Mark, he said, his voice heavy. Son, I don't know what to say. Did she tell you everything? I asked. She told us enough, he sighed. God, I'm so sorry. I didn't raise her to do this kind of stuff. He sounded old suddenly, tired, disappointed. I felt bad for him. None of this was his fault. I understand if you never want to see her again, he continued, but I want you to know that you'll always be welcome here. You're a good man, Mark. Whatever you decide, I respect it. I thanked him quietly. For a moment, we just sat in silence. Two men dealing with the pain a third person had caused us. Then her mom, Karen, 57, got on the phone. Karen had always been a bit more protective of Allison. Thought her daughter could do no wrong. I braced myself. Mark, darling, we all make mistakes, she began, her voice taking on that reasonable tone she used when trying to smooth things over. Allison made a terrible error in judgment, but she loves you. She regrets what happened, and it will never happen again. I think we can all move forward from this. With all due respect, Karen, I said calmly. This isn't a broken vase or a missed dinner reservation. She cheated on me. Multiple times. With multiple people. 3 weeks before our wedding. She's never been this destroyed before, Karen countered, like her daughter's current emotional state somehow balanced the scales. She's made a mistake, but don't throw away your future over one bad weekend. I just politely said I appreciated her opinion and that I had to go. I didn't want to argue with her. Nothing she could say would change what happened or what I needed to do. Allison called back begging again, saying she told her parents and even texted our mutual friends about what happened. She asked when I would come back to speak with her and suggested we could go to counseling and she'd pay for everything. I've already booked an appointment for tomorrow, she said eagerly. Dr. Hansen has a great reputation for couples counseling. He helped my cousin and her husband after he had an affair, and they're stronger than ever now. Your cousin's husband cheated, I pointed out. Not her. What difference does it make? She asked, genuinely confused. Cheating is cheating. The difference is that your cousin didn't betray her husband. He betrayed her, and she chose to forgive him. That was her choice to make. Just like this is my choice. So make the choice to forgive me, she cried. Please, Mark, I'll do anything. After listening to her cry for a while, I finally said she shouldn't be apologizing because single women like herself are allowed to do these things, and that I hope she finds Mr. Right. This made her cry even harder, and her sister Jen grabbed the phone. Mark, this is Jen. Look, I know you're hurt and angry, and you have every right to be. But people make mistakes, and Allie made a big one. She knows that. She's willing to do whatever it takes to make it right. Everything can be fixed if we just talk it out. Like how you told her not to feel guilty? I asked coldly. Like how you said, what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. That kind of fixing things? There was a pause. You saw those messages out of context, she stammered. I was just trying to make her feel better, because she was already so guilty, and I reminded Jen that I only said I'd think about it, and that now that I have, I realize I dodged a bullet, and wish them both the best. Jen then started saying Allison was becoming suicidal from all this, and that it could take her life. She hasn't eaten since yesterday, Jen said urgently. She's talking about how she doesn't deserve to live after what she did to you. She's scaring us, Mark. I know you don't owe her anything, but if something happens to her because of this, I just said, it's a good thing you're close to her, so you can make sure she doesn't harm herself. Maybe take her to a doctor or something. Call 911 if she's truly a danger to herself. Then I hung up. Not my circus, not my monkeys anymore. My phone's been blowing up with messages from mutual friends Allison and Jen, all saying sorry and begging me to come back. I don't plan on responding. Some of my boys have reached out too, and they're all saying I did the right thing. Feels good to have that validation. That night, I ordered room service again and watched a basketball game on TV. I actually found myself getting into it, cheering when my team scored. It felt good to care about something simple and straightforward, even if just for a few hours. 2 days later, I checked out of the hotel and drove to Mike's place. Mike, 32 male, is my business partner and best friend since high school. We both played linebacker on our football team and now run our own financial advisory firm together. Having him as my business partner made the whole situation a bit easier. At least I didn't have to worry about work while dealing with this mess. I went ahead and covered your clients this week, he told me as we sat in his living room. Told them you had a family emergency. No details. Thanks, I said. I appreciate that. No problem. Oh, and you got a call from Madison Financial. That CEO we met at the conference last month? Bill Peterson? He wants us to handle his company's pension plan. Seriously? That's huge, Mike nodded. Yeah, could be our biggest client yet. I told his assistant you'd call him back next week. It felt good to talk about work, about normal things. A reminder that life goes on, that there was more to me than just Allison's fiancé. That first night at Mike's, I actually slept for about 6 hours straight, the most I'd gotten since discovering the messages. In the morning, we hit his home gym for a workout, then had breakfast on his back deck. I was beginning to feel almost okay. Then Allison showed up. Mike and I were in the kitchen when the doorbell rang. He went to answer it, and I heard her voice, pleading, tearful, asking for me. I froze, coffee mug halfway to my lips. She's here? I mouthed to Mike when he came back. He nodded. Want me to tell her to leave? I thought about it for a moment. Maybe it was time to face her, to get this over with once and for all. No, I said. I'll talk to her. She was standing on the front porch, looking small and lost. Her eyes were red and puffy, her hair pulled back in a messy ponytail. She was wearing jeans and a hoodie. My hoodie, actually. One I'd left behind. Mark, she whispered when she saw me. Thank you for seeing me. Let's talk out here, I said, stepping onto the porch and closing the door behind me. I didn't invite her inside. This wasn't going to be a long conversation. How did you find me? I asked. Your phone location, she admitted. We still share it from when we set it up for the trip to Colorado last year. I know I shouldn't have, but I was desperate. Great. Another privacy invasion. I made a mental note to fix that immediately. What do you want, Allison? I needed to see you. To explain in person. The phone it's not the same. Explain what? I saw the messages. I know what happened, but you don't know why, she insisted. You don't know that I was crying in the bathroom afterward, that I called my therapist from Vegas the next morning, completely broken, that I've been torturing myself ever since, trying to figure out how to tell you. You weren't going to tell me, I pointed out. Your messages made that pretty clear. She looked down. You're right. I wasn't. I was a coward. I was going to try to bury it, to pretend it never happened. And that was wrong. Another mistake on top of the first one. Why are you here, Allison? What do you want from me? Another chance, she said simply. I know I don't deserve it. I know what I did was unforgivable. But I'm asking anyway. Because I love you, Mark. Because these past 4 years have been the best of my life. Because the thought of losing you forever is unbearable. You should have thought of that in Vegas. I know, she whispered. I know. We stood there in silence for a moment. A neighbor walked by with a dog, waved casually. Such a normal, everyday thing in the middle of this surreal conversation. I got tested, she said suddenly. Full panel. Everything came back negative. I can show you the results. That's good. For you. And I fired Rachel as my maid of honor. Told her I couldn't have someone in my wedding who encouraged me to do something so destructive. I almost laughed. There is no wedding, Allison. Not anymore. There could be, she said, a desperate edge to her voice. Maybe not in 3 weeks. Maybe not even this year. But someday, when you can trust me again. I'll wait, Mark. I'll wait as long as it takes. I looked at her. Really looked at her. The woman I'd loved for 4 years. The woman I'd planned to spend my life with. And I felt nothing. No anger anymore. No hurt. Just emptiness. I need you to understand something, I said finally. This isn't a pause. It's not a break. It's over. Completely. I will never trust you again, Allison. Not in 3 weeks. Not in a year. Not ever. Her face crumpled. You don't mean that. I do. And deep down, you know it's the right call. What kind of marriage would we have with this hanging over us? With me wondering every time you go out with your friends if history is repeating itself? With you walking on eggshells? Trying to prove yourself? That's not a marriage. That's a prison. Hefin. People get past infidelity all the time, she argued. Couples counseling works. People rebuild trust. Some people do, I agreed. But I'm not one of them. And the fact that you're still calling it infidelity instead of what it really was. Betrayal, disrespect, a complete disregard for our relationship and future, tells me you still don't truly get it. She started crying again, silent tears streaming down her face. What can I do? Tell me what to do to fix this. Nothing. There's nothing to fix. It's broken beyond repair. The best thing for both of us is to accept that and move on. I'll never move on from you, she said. You will. Eventually. We both will. I turned to go back inside. This conversation was over. Wait, she called. Your ring. Don't you want it back? I hadn't even thought about the engagement ring. A 2-carat diamond that had cost me 3 months' salary. Keep it, I said without turning around. Sell it. Donate it. I don't care. Mark, please, please don't do this. I love you. I paused, hand on the doorknob. No, Allison. You loved the idea of me. The stable guy with the good job, the future husband and father of your children. But you didn't love me. If you had, you never could have done what you did. I went inside and closed the door, leaning against it for a moment, expecting to feel something. Pain, regret, second thoughts. But there was only relief and the certainty that I'd made the right decision. A month later, I was settling into my new apartment and focusing on our growing business when I got an email from Jen, Allison's sister. The subject line was simply, Tyler, and the body of the email was brief. Thought you should know that Tyler wasn't just some random guy. They'd been talking on Instagram for months before Vegas. There were messages, FaceTime calls. I only found out yesterday, went through her phone while she was in the shower. She's still in touch with him. I'm done covering for her. Thought you deserved the truth. Jay attached were screenshots, dozens of messages dating back almost 6 months. Allison and Tyler making plans to meet in Vegas during her Bachelorette. Explicit conversations. Inside jokes. The kind of easy familiarity that doesn't develop overnight. I sat staring at my computer screen for what felt like hours. It wasn't a drunken mistake. It wasn't a one-time thing. It wasn't her friend's fault, or Vegas's fault, or anyone's fault, but hers. She'd been cultivating this relationship behind my back for months while planning our wedding. While picking out china patterns and arguing about seating charts and taste-testing cakes, she'd been texting this guy. I forwarded the email to myself, then deleted it from my inbox. I didn't respond to Jen. What was there to say? Thanks for finally telling the truth? Glad you grew a conscience? Nothing seemed adequate, so I said nothing at all. 2 days later, Allison showed up at my office. My assistant Claire buzzed my office. There's an Allison Hartford here to see you. No appointment. Should I send her away? I thought about it. Part of me wanted to tell Claire to call security, but another part, a stronger part, wanted Allison to see me now, here, in my element. Confident, successful, unmoved by her drama. Give me 2 minutes, then send her in, I told Claire. I straightened my tie, cleared the personal photos off my desk, force of habit, There weren't any pictures of Allison there anymore anyway, and took a deep breath. When she walked in, I was reviewing client portfolios, barely glancing up at her entrance. "This is a surprise," I said neutrally. She looked terrible. Thin, pale, dark circles under her eyes. Her normally perfect hair was pulled back in a messy bun, and she wasn't wearing makeup. But even looking like hell, there was something calculated about her appearance, like she wanted me to see how much she was suffering. "I need to talk to you," she said, her voice steady despite her appearance. "I'm listening," I said, gesturing to the chair across from my desk. Professional. Detached. Like she was any other person coming in for a meeting. She sat down, clutching her purse in her lap. "Jen told me she emailed you. About Tyler. About the messages." "She did. I'm not here to make excuses," she said, which was already an excuse in itself. "I just want you to know that it wasn't what it looked like." I almost laughed. "It looked like you were having an emotional affair for months before physically cheating on me in Vegas. What part of that wasn't what it looked like?" "The part where I was going to end it," she said quickly. "The Vegas trip. I was going to tell him it was over. That I was getting married and couldn't do this anymore." Now I did laugh. A short, incredulous sound. "And how did that work out? Because from where I'm sitting, it looks like you ended up giving a stripper a blowjob and going home with Tyler instead of ending anything." She flinched at my bluntness. "I know how it looks. But I swear, Mark, I was confused. I got caught up in the attention, in the flattery. Tyler was just, he was new and exciting and different, but he wasn't you. He could never be you. And yet here we are. I made a horrible mistake," she said, leaning forward, eyes pleading. "The worst mistake of my life, and I will regret it forever. But I'm asking you, begging you, one last time. Please give me another chance." I studied her face, looking for any sign of the woman I thought I knew, the woman I'd loved, but all I saw was desperation and self-pity. "No," I said simply. "Just like that? 4 years together, and you can throw it away just like that?" "I didn't throw anything away, Allison. You did. The moment you started talking to Tyler behind my back." "People make mistakes," she cried. "Nobody's perfect." "There's a difference between mistakes and choices," I said calmly. "You made a series of deliberate choices over and over again for months. You chose to message him. You chose to keep it secret. You chose to meet him in Vegas. You chose to sleep with him. Those weren't mistakes. Those were decisions." She started crying then, silent tears tracking down her face. "What can I do? Please tell me what I can do to fix this." "Nothing," I said. "It's not fixable. We're not fixable. Besides, I thought you came here not to make excuses. Sounds to me like that's exactly what you're doing." "I love you," she whispered. "No," I said firmly. "You don't, and I don't love you anymore either." "I did. For a long time. But that's over now." "Because of one mistake?" she asked bitterly. "Because you're still calling it one mistake," I countered. "Because you're still trying to minimize what you did. Because even now, sitting in my office, you're trying to manipulate me with your tears and your appearance and your 'I was going to end it' bullshit. I'm done, Allison. We're done." She stood up, suddenly angry. "Fine, fine. You're so perfect, aren't you? Never made a mistake in your life. Well, good luck finding someone who lives up to your impossible standards." "My standards aren't impossible," I said, remaining seated. "Don't cheat. Don't lie. Pretty basic stuff, actually." She turned to leave, then paused at the door. "You'll regret this," she said, almost to herself. "One day you'll wake up and realize what you threw away." "I don't think so," I said honestly. "But if that day comes, I'll call you. Don't wait by the phone, though." After she left, I felt lighter, clearer. Like the last cloud hanging over me had finally dispersed. Life has a funny way of working out sometimes. 3 months after my confrontation with Allison in my office, I was in a completely different place, literally and figuratively. I'd moved into a new luxury apartment downtown, with floor-to-ceiling windows and a killer view of the city. Our firm had landed several major clients, and we'd hired 2 new advisors to help handle the increased workload. I'd started dating again. Nothing serious, just dinner here and there. It was nice to remember that there were normal, decent women out there who didn't think cheating was just a mistake you could apologize for and move on. Jessica, 27 female, a fitness instructor I met at my new gym, was particularly cool. Smart, funny, no drama. We'd been on 5 dates, taking things slow, getting to know each other. It was refreshing how straightforward everything was with her. No games, no manipulation, just 2 adults enjoying each other's company. Then one Tuesday morning, I got a call from a number I didn't recognize. I almost didn't answer, but something made me pick up. "Hello? Mark? It's Bob." Allison's dad. I hadn't spoken to Bob in months. Last I'd heard, he and Karen were trying to support Allison through her difficult time, aka the consequences of her own actions. Bob, I said, keeping my voice neutral. What can I do for you? He hesitated. I know you probably don't want to hear from any of us right now, but I didn't know who else to call. What's going on? I asked, genuinely concerned despite everything. Bob had always been good to me, and none of this was his fault. It's complicated. Financial trouble. Bad investment. I was hoping for some professional advice. I hesitated, then sighed. I can give you 15 minutes. What happened? What Bob told me next was almost too perfect to believe. After everything blew up with our wedding, Allison had stayed in touch with Tyler. He'd moved to our city, and they'd started dating. Things got serious quickly. Within a month, he'd moved into her apartment. My old apartment, technically, though I'd removed my name from the lease. Tyler had convinced Allison and her parents to invest in a business venture, a restaurant concept he claimed would be the next big thing. A fusion sushi/tapas place with a Vegas theme called What Happens. They sank about $200,000 into it, mostly Bob and Karen's retirement money, and Tyler had disappeared with all of it. Complete scam. We signed the papers without having a lawyer look at them, Bob admitted, sounding embarrassed. Karen was against it at first, but Allison was so sure he was legitimate. Said he had connections in the restaurant industry from his time in Vegas. Now we can't even find him. His apartment's empty, his phone's disconnected. The irony was almost too perfect. The random guy she cheated with ended up conning her and her family out of their savings. I almost felt bad for them. Almost. Here's what I can do, I said after a moment. I'll email you the contact information for a securities fraud attorney I know. He's good, and he might be able to help you trace the money. I'll also send the name of a financial advisor who specializes in retirement reclamation and rebuilding. You would do that? After everything? Bob sounded surprised and grateful. It's not about deserving, I told him. No one deserves to be scammed out of their retirement savings. Not even Allison. Thank you, Mark. You're a better man than most. I'm just doing my job, Bob. I hope things work out for you and Karen. What about Allison? He asked hesitantly. What about her? Will you talk to her? She's not doing well. Lost her job last month. Showed up late too many times after Tyler left. She's living with us now, trying to figure out her next steps. She still talks about you, you know. Says losing you was the biggest mistake of her life. It wasn't a mistake, I reminded him gently. It was a choice. Several choices, actually. And no, I won't talk to her. That chapter of my life is closed. I understand, he said, sounding resigned. Thank you for your help anyway. After I hung up, I sat at my desk, processing what I'd just learned. Tyler, the guy Allison had thrown away our relationship for, had used her, stolen from her family, and disappeared. It was like something out of a movie, the kind of poetic justice you rarely see in real life. I sent Bob the emails I'd promised, then went about my day. I had a lunch meeting with a potential client, a workout scheduled for the afternoon, and dinner plans with Jessica that evening. Life was moving forward, with or without Allison Hartford. 2 days later, I was leaving the office when I spotted her sitting on a bench across the street. She was obviously waiting for me, had probably been there for hours. I considered going back inside, using a different exit, avoiding the confrontation altogether. But that felt cowardly, and if there's one thing I'd learned through all this, it was that running from difficult situations only postponed the inevitable. So I crossed the street and approached her. She stood when she saw me coming, smoothing down her skirt nervously. Hi, she said. Allison. I nodded. Your dad called me. I know. He told me he was going to. I asked him not to, but he's worried about you, about their retirement. I'm so sorry about that, she said, and for once she seemed genuinely remorseful. I never imagined he was using me like that. You didn't think a guy who would help you cheat on your fiancé might not have the strongest moral character? I couldn't help asking. She winced. I deserve that. What do you want, Allison? Why are you here? I don't know, she admitted. To see you, I guess. To apologize again for everything. To tell you that you were right about me, about Tyler, about all of it. She looked terrible, had lost weight, dark circles under her eyes, hair a mess. Her normally perfect appearance was completely gone, replaced by something almost haggard. For the first time, I felt no satisfaction in seeing her this way, just a vague, distant pity. I'm sorry about your parents' money, I said sincerely. I gave your dad some resources that might help. That's more than we deserve, she said quietly. Thank you. We stood there in awkward silence for a moment. A businessman walked by, briefcase in hand. A couple passed, laughing at some private joke. Normal people living normal lives while we stood frozen in this strange tableau of past and present. I heard you're seeing someone, she said finally. Jessica? Rachel's gym instructor. Of course she knew. Small world. Yes, I confirmed, not elaborating. Is it serious? That's not really your business anymore, Allison. No, she agreed. It's not. I hope she knows how lucky she is. What do you want from me? I asked directly, tired of the small talk. Why are you really here? She looked down, then back up at me, eyes shining with unshed tears. I wanted to see if there was anything left, any chance at all, but I can see there isn't. No, I said gently. There isn't. I really loved you, she whispered. Despite everything, despite what I did, I really did love you. I know, I said, and was surprised to find I believed her. But love isn't enough, Allison. Without trust, without respect, without honesty, love is just a word. She nodded, wiping a tear from her cheek. Well, I should go. Thank you for talking to me, and for helping my parents. Take care of yourself, I said, meaning it. As she walked away, I felt a strange sense of closure, of completion. The anger that had driven me for so long was gone, replaced by something calmer, steadier. I watched her disappear around the corner, a final glimpse of a life I'd once thought was mine, now just a fading memory. So that's my story, Reddit. Thanks for all the support and advice along the way. If there's one lesson here, it's this. Know your worth, never settle, and always be willing to walk away. The moment you're willing to walk away is the moment you take your power back.